Now, what does this mean? A knas of shogeg otu mezid. If we allow him to benefit from bishul on Shabbos because he implemented it bishkaga, he may in the future think that mistakenly that he's allowed to benefit from a malacha bishul on Shabbos even if it was done b'mezid. So at least in the very minimum sense, according to Rabbi Yehuda, we have to prohibit this bishul during the course of Shabbos, and it's only mutter after Shabbos. During Shabbos, we're not allowed to eat from it. And that's a knas that we impose upon the person who cooked the food, only upon him. He should have known better. B'mezid, if he deliberately violated the Shabbos by cooking, lo yochal olamis, he's not allowed to eat that food forever and ever. He shouldn't benefit from that bishul that was implemented b'mezid, but others who are not worthy of a knas, we're going to only impose what we call shogeg otu mezid, which means he has to wait until Motzei Shabbos. So everyone else, except for the Mavasha, has to wait till Motzei Shabbos. All this is on a D'Rabbanan level. But now we introduce Rabbi Yochanan HaSandlar, the third Tana. He says that b'shogeg ochel Motzei Shabbos, the Torah does not prohibit the product of bishul in a violation of Shabbos if it was done b'shogeg, and in this sense, we have to wait until Motzei Shabbos, and that's a D'Rabbanan halacha. Lacherim v'lo lo. No one, not the Mavashel, nor anyone else, is allowed to benefit from this bishul that was done b'shogeg during the course of Shabbos. We have to wait until Motzei Shabbos. And that's all because of the Gzeira, which we mentioned earlier, called Gazrinon Shogeg Otu Mezid. It's a kind of a knas. And therefore, the barest minimum of that knas is that we don't benefit from that bishul during the course of Shabbos. However, here's where Rabbi Yochanan HaSandlar departs radically from the other Tanoim. B'mezid lo ye'achel olamis lo v'lo lacherim. The Gemara is going to derive the sheet of Rabbi Yochanan HaSandlar as a doraisa from a pasuk in the Torah that teaches us that the ochel itself becomes a chefza di isura li olam, for you, for me, for everyone. My time of the Rabbi Yochanan HaSandlar, where did he derive this from? Kididorish Rabbi Chia apischa de beinesia ushmartem es hashabbos ki kodesh hi lachem. Please emphasize those two words, kodesh and lachem. The next pasuk says mechalel mos yumos, but in this pasuk it says that we compare Melecha Shabbos to Kodesh. Why did the Torah add the word Kodesh? Kodesh means Hegdesh. And Hegdesh is Asur B'Hana. So if I declare that this shtender is Hegdesh, I'm not allowed to benefit from the shtender. It has the status of Hegdesh. And the Torah is equating the product of a Melecha Shabbos with Hegdesh. Ki Kodesh hi lachem. Ma Kodesh Asur B'Achila. Af Ma'aseh Shabbos Asur B'Achila. Now, the Torah says that Ma'aseh Shabbos is Kodesh, like Hegdesh. It should be Asur B'Hana. I Ma Kodesh Asur B'Hana. Ma'aseh Shabbos Asur B'Hana. Shouldn't we take this equation to its logical conclusion, and therefore equating Ma'aseh Shabbos with Hegdesh would generate an Isur Hana like Hegdesh? Talmud Lomer Lachem, but there's another part of this pasuk, Lachem. The word Lachem always indicates that it's yours, which means you're allowed to benefit from it. Lachem Yehei, it's Mutar B'Hana. Yochel Afilu B'Shogeg, even in the case of someone who inadvertently violated the Shabbos and cooked, the cooked food is a product of Melecha Shabbos, and therefore it should have the status of Kodesh. It should be like Hegdesh as a chefza d'isura, at least as far as Isra Achil is concerned. And that should be liolamis. Amaloma mechalel mos yumos. Mechalel mos yumos b'mezid amarti lecha v'lo b'shogeg. So the shogeg halacha here, that according to Rabbi Yochanan Sandler prohibits the cooked food until after Shabbos, that's the Rabbanan. That comes under laws of Knas. However, on a Doraisa level, there's an Isur Achila that's generated b'mezid by virtue of Meleches Shabbos that created this food, this entity that's now edible, and we derive from Kodesh that it has the status of Kodesh, and it's Asur Be'achila. And that's Olamis. We now have an answer to our original question. Our question was, how could the Rabbanan say that you're potur from Tvicha Mechira, from Dalet Vehei, because you shechted on Shabbos, if in any event the Shechita is a Shechita Re'uya, it's Mata the Basa? The answer is, the Rabbanan here are actually Rabbi Shimon, who holds that the Shechita is not Mata the Basa B'achila, because Rabbi Shimon holds that Melecha Shabbos generates the status of Hegdesh, and it's also B'achila. The Gemara says, Pligi bar of Acharavina. We're not actually certain and convinced that Rabbi Yochanan Sandler is referring to an Isur Doraisa of a Cheftzah D'Isura, and that issue really hinges on a controversy between Rav Acha and Ravina. Had Omar, according to one opinion, Maisa Shabbos Doraisa, the way we understood it, the simple, straightforward interpretation of Kodesh is that it generates an Isur B'Cheftzah of Doraisa in the case of Melecha Shabbos B'Mezid. But Chad Omar, there's another opinion that this whole drasha of Kodesh is really just an asmachta, and it's a schizuk to a drabanan. And if it's drabanan, then we're back to square one as far as that difficulty that we raised in terms of the Chachamim Shita in the Brisa. And the Omer Doraisa Kidamar, and everything fits into place. We understand that based on Hegdesh, Melecha Shabbos is also Doraisa, therefore it's a Shchita Sheina Ruya, it's not Mata the Basar. Hence, he's not going to incur a Chiyuv Dalet Vehei because it's not a valid Shchita as Reb Shimon. But Mandi Omim the Rabbanan, Omer Kra Kodeshi, Kodesh V'Ein Maseh Kodesh. It means that Shabbos itself is called Kodesh. But the Maisa of Shabbos is not called Kodesh. Ulamandi Omim the Rabbanan, my Taimayu the Rabbanan the Patre. If Rabbi Yochanan Sandler, when he says that Maisa Shabbos B'Mezid is Asur B'Achila Lo Lamis, he's only talking about an Isur D'Rabbanan, then on a Doraisa level, the Shechita is a Shechita Re'uya, and it's Mata the Basa. How could the Rabbanan come along and Pata the Ganav from Dalet Vehei? Why do we want to be lenient on behalf of the Ganav and exonerate him from a Chiyuv Dalet Vehei? He doesn't deserve that kind of treatment. We should go back to the Doraisa halacha, and on the Doraisa halacha, even Rabbi Yochanan Sadler agrees that it's a Shechita Ruya and it's Mata the Basa. And this entire Kodeshi is only an Asmachta D'Rabbanan. On a Doraisa level. We interpret it as Kodesh, Shabbos is Kodesh, but Ein Maseh Kodesh. And the Gemara is forced by virtue of putting its back against the wall that Ki Kapatri Rabbanan Ashara, that in the Brisa, when it says Rabbanan Potrim, it wasn't referring to all the cases. It was only referring to the cases of Shochet L'Shem Avodas Kochavim or Shochet Shar Niskal. In those cases, the Ganav is potter from Dalet Vehei. But in the case of Shochet B'Shabbos, even the Rabbanan concede to Rabbi Meir that he's Chayav for Dalet Vehei, because the Shechita on a Doraisa level is a Shechita Re'uya. Even according to Rabbi Yochanan Sandler, if we go according to that interpretation, Rabbi Yochanan Sandler is only D'Rabbanan. The Gemara asks the following question: Tovech avodas kochavim. I don't understand Rabbi Meir that you could be chayav for shechting for the sake of avodas kochavim. Came in the shochet beipurta. As soon as he shechs the first of two simanim, itzarle, it becomes aser bana. This is sugyan chulin on daf mem. That if you had a behema and he shechts the behema to avodah zara, then immediately when he shechts the first of two simanim, it becomes avodah zara. And now, once it becomes avodah zarah, it's aser bano. Once it's aser bano, it has no bailus because Yisrael no lav mamon. The idach tekatavach lav b'marei katav. As far as Dalet Vehei is concerned, you're only chayav after you complete the shechita. And now he's shechting something when he gets the second simon, which is not private property of the nignav. The owner of the animal no longer owns the animal because it became avodah zarah with the beginning of the first simon. Again, this depends on a whole sugya, which again we would have to spend a lot of time on, called Ein Adam Oseh Davar She'eino Shelo. But right now the Gemara is holding that Adam Oseh Davar She'eino Shelo in the case of shechita, and with the first simon, the animal became Oseh Bano B'Toras Avodah Zarah, and as a result, it's Yatsa Mirshus Bailim. And if it's Yatsa Mirshus Bailim, then when the Ganav steals it, well, he already stole it, but when he shechts it, and he gets to the point of Shchitas Simon Hasheni, at that point when he gets the second Simon, he cannot be Chayav Vidal Vehei because it's no longer Mirshus Bailim. Amar Rava Omer, he made a declaration. Bigmar Zbicha Hu Ovda. I'm only going to serve that idol when I finish the shechita. And his intention to withhold avodah zarah until he shechts the second simon means that the behema is not a behemas akum until he shechts the second simon. At that moment, simultaneous with the inception of the Shem Avodas Kochavim, he violated the Iser Misa of Avodas Kochavim, and we're going to apply the principle of Kimle b'derabmine. However, according to Rabbi Meir does not accept Kimle b'derabmine, and therefore he will be chayav for Dalet Vehei, but only on the condition that it's a shchita ru'uya, and only on the condition that he shechted a stolen animal. But now we're saying that it didn't become avodah zarah until after the second simon, and at that point it became avodah zarah. He violated avodah zarah, and therefore, according to Rabbi Meir, he has to pay Dalet Vehei. The Gemara says Shor Niskal. Why does Rabbi Meir say he's chayav Dalet Vehei if he checks the Shor Niskal? Shor Niskal is also by Noah. It's after the Gemara did, and if it's also by Noah, it's Yotza Mishus Bailim. And if it's Yotza Mishus Bailim, then he cannot be chayav for Dalet Vehei for a tvicha on something that doesn't belong to the Bailim. The Gemara says Shor Niskal lav dideu de katam. Right? He didn't shech the animal that belongs to Ruvain. It no longer belongs to Ruvain. Amar Rabba Mayaskini Kagon Shemisaro Lishomer. Ruvain gave this animal over to Shimon. Shimon is the Shomer. And Shimon is responsible if the animal goes out and kills someone, he's going to have to pay for that damage. And the shor, when it becomes a shor niskal, after being proven in front of a bezdin of 23 judges that it has to be stoned, the shomer is going to have to pay for that shor because now it's worthless. The hizik, the base shomer, the nigmar dine. So number one, at time T1, the mafti gave this shor over to the shomer. At time T2, the shomer was poshea, and the animal went out and never killed somebody. At time T3, they took the animal in front of the Sanhedrin Aktana and they paskin that it's Chayav Misa. And it's still in the Beis Shomer. He hasn't yet returned it. Now we get to time T4. Ugnovo Ganav Beis Shomer. Of all places to steal an animal, he stole it from a Beis Shomer after the animal was already condemned to death as a Shar Niskal. Okay, how does this solve the problem of why the Ganav is going to be Chayav Dalet Vehei for Tficha? Number one, Rabbi Meir Savala ki Rabbi Yaakov. Number two, Rabbi Meir Savala ki Rabbi Shimon. Let's go through it one by one. Savala ki Rabbi Yaakov, Ti Omar Af Mishenigdar Dino Hichziro Shomer Lebalav Muchzar. This is a famous principle in all of Mizikin called Harei Shalcha Lifanecha. Like, for example, if Ruvain steals chametz from Shimon right before Pesach, it's worth $10, and now it's Pesach. It's Chametz Shavuot of Pesach. Yet Ruvain, the Ganav, could return the stolen Chametz after Pesach, even though it's worthless. He gives back to the end, and he's potter. That's the sheet of Rabbi Yaakov. And Rabbi Meir holds like Rabbi Yaakov, and therefore the shomer, all he has to do, if it hadn't been that it was stolen, he would give back the shara niskal to the bailim, and get this, he would be potter, because he's returning the shara to the bailim. Number two, even though the shomer technically is not the owner of the animal, and therefore why should the ganav be chayav daled vehei? But al pi din, according to Reb Shimon, and by the way, this has nothing to do with the other Reb Shimon that we spoke about shchita sheina ru'uya. According to Reb Shimon, davar agarim l'mamon k'mamon. If I'm holding on and possessing mammon, and that mammon, although it may not have objective value, but it has value for me because I, as a shomer, can now return it to the bailim and exempt me from paying for the shar, which is now a shar niskal, then it's considered mine. And therefore, Rabbi Meir says, based on these two premises, number one, harei shel chol lefanech, number two, davar garim l'mamon k'mamon dami, the ganav will be chayav for tvicha dal vehei vis-a-vis the shomer, because he caused the shomer a loss, which makes it the shomer shar, and if he shechts the shomer shar after he steals it, he's chayav dal vehei. We started today our study by establishing that the case of someone who steals an animal and shechts it on Shabbos is a case where he sends a shliach to shecht it on Shabbos. And now the Gemara says in the name of Rabbah, there's no need to introduce that ukimta, but rather liolam itovech al yedei atzmo. He himself shechted it. Just give me 1 second, if you don't mind.